We're the Grahams.
I'm Nancy Hayes, and Bob and I were involved in the start of the church here at Sydenham.
I'm Wally Gladman. This is my lovely wife, Jan.
Hi, I'm Wilma.
And I'm Gary, and we're the Fieldings, and we're part of the founding group for Sydenham Baptist Church.
When we moved here, we felt that we needed to be in our area with our church, and there was no church here.
We felt that God was leading us to start a church around the Keilor area.
We were at Aberfeldy, and the Baptist Union were very keen to put a church because there were none out in our area at all.
Sydenham was in the country. There were very few houses at the time. The nearest church to us was St Albans area.
We're going back over 50 years ago, and there was no Taylor's Lakes. We could look across the paddocks.
This was a church plant from Aberfeldy Baptist Church.
But we'd opened it up to other churches in the Essendon area. So as well as the ones from Aber, we had people from Moonee Ponds Baptist and Glenbervie Baptist.
The very first gathering is a long time ago.
There was that sense of excitement, establishing a new church.
The very first meeting of our church to see if it was going to go ahead was held in this room.
We met at the Hayes' house. It was May 1985 when that meeting was.
It was very good that we had two venues side by side so that we could use one for the church service and one for the creche.
We had our very first service at the Gladman's house.
We had some worship time and singing together.
And we had little children at the time.
And the children were being minded in the house next door.
Bob and Nancy's daughter, who was the responsible one looking after the younger kids.
We weren't sure how many people would come, and it's lovely that, you know, it's nearly all these years later that this room's still involved, so that's pretty special to me.
We wanted to be in a more visible location.
The new school had just opened, so Bob arranged to meet with them and see if we could hire a place there.
So the very first service was the 16th of Feb 1986, and we met at Keilor Downs Post Primary School at the time.
What is now Keilor Downs Secondary College.
It was a brand new school, so it was a bare room at this stage.
There were actually no chairs for the drama room initially. And so there was a lot of negotiation backwards and forwards to make sure we had chairs.
The week before, the chairs still hadn't arrived, and we'd put flyers around and advertised the service, and Friday afternoon we got the message the chairs had mysteriously arrived. God was with us. He was helping us along.
When we actually started the service, Natalie was 7 and Ben was 5, and Rebecca was only 6 weeks old. That was when we had our first service at the school. And so they've grown up in this community, and it's been just lovely to have friends around in the community, and we think that's just so important.
I've always had a heart for babies. When we first saw Wilma, she was pregnant, and I was so happy that there was going to be a baby, at least one baby.
We had a banner made in very big writing, Keilor for Christ. In the room that we were meeting in, we had that banner right across the front.
A small room, it was a classroom, and we'd have to bring everything in. I think we had the lectern stored at our place, along at the back of our wagon, and then guitar, of course.
A certain person, a few weeks after we began, went on stage with his guitar and has remained on stage ever since. 40 years later, he's still on stage with his guitar.
We started and we probably had about 30 or so people coming along.
Tables had to be moved out, chairs had to be rearranged, and there'd be chairs from other rooms as well, and they would then have to be set up. So there would be a team to come and set things up every Sunday morning.
And we had a good time there, but numbers were growing, and it got to the stage where we outgrew that drama room.
And we were able to move into 3 classrooms that opened up into one big space.
And that was able to accommodate a lot more people.
But that also had its issues about shifting all the tables.
There were only a few of us, and all the jobs needed to be done by us.
Everyone pitched in, and I think that created a great sense of community.
I did creche, I did morning tea. Every job that was to be done, we were involved in. And it was good because we all sort of joined in everything.
Nancy started Sunday school, Jan started creche, and Rob and Carol started a senior youth group. Probably the highlight for us was when we decided to run a junior youth group.
We had a lot of musicians in those days, but that was my major task, to bring the musical and the worship side up.
Then the kids started playing instruments, and there was some flutes and clarinets and saxophones and keyboard and drums.
Just about an orchestra.
We always used to have a cup of coffee after church. There was no water or sink washing facilities actually in that room, so it was all water was brought in an urn.
At that time we met people who still remained friends with us as lifetime friends, and our children also made lifetime friends there too.
We'd been meeting at the school for many years. We were given the opportunity to have the chance to get a loan for our own church.
We almost bought one under the power lines down at Taylor's Lakes. That fell through, thank goodness. Next bought a property on the corner right near the old railway station,
Which is now
Luxor Reception.
Yes.
We were going to have the church there, but
We purchased the land.
But we had this offer of a lot of money to buy it off us, much more than what we paid.
We sold that, and with that money we were able to purchase this land.
That gave us hope that maybe one day we might be able to build our own building. We needed to raise $120,000. At that time, that was an enormous amount of money, probably in today's money about $1 million. And we didn't have a very big congregation.
So the idea was those who were willing were going to pledge an amount to go towards this deposit. And it was a secret thing. Nobody signed the pledges, and it was for a certain time. Everyone sort of thought about and prayed about it. There weren't a lot of us, and we were young families with, usually one income.
But we prayed, and we put out the challenge to the people of our church to say we need to raise $120,000.
And the day came that the pledges, people came up and put them in the offering bowl, and the amount that was pledged was the exact figure that we needed for the deposit. Yeah. It wasn't over, it was the exact amount. Some months down the track, the pledges were then asked to come back with the money that you'd promised. And things can happen, people can get sick, they can lose their jobs. When the money came in, we had more than was promised.
The fact that we were able to raise so much money in
So few families.
the 90s, it was just amazing.
And it was so emotional. There were tears everywhere. It was very, very special.
You don't know how God's going to do it, but somehow this was going to grow. If He's providing land, if He is providing people, going to expect that God's going to grow this church.
And so we're able to, with the help of the Baptist Union of Victoria, start building our church, or the Lord's Church, 350 Calder Park Drive.
Lindsay Smith was minister at the time, and he did a lot of wheeling and dealing.
If you wanted second-hand materials, Lindsay Smith was your man.
He and Merrill were just terrific. He could always manage to find a deal. He knew someone who knew someone, so that we could make the dollars stretch as far as possible. The church was built on a shoestring. It was a frame from a factory.
Sea Furniture fella, and they were closing down. The frame of the building became available for sale, so we bought it.
Had to be demolished and all of these sorts of things.
We had a builder, but we were able to have church working bees to do a lot of the work.
Everyone could hold a paintbrush, could do some gardening.
And every second week we had a working bee. I can remember putting in dynabolts for the battens at this floor.
It was just the camaraderie of everyone working together to actually physically build the church.
Now, if you ever hear any squeaks or there's any cracks, that definitely would have been part of the floor that I didn't work on.
You could really see God's hand in the whole thing as it was being built.
It was just so exciting to be in our building finally.
There was a surprising number of people who came along.
I was actually leading the service, and I got up there and I looked out. There was standing room only.
We had about 500 people, I remember, because we didn't have enough chairs. We had people standing.
It was going to be a wet day, and we think, oh, that's going to be fantastic, because all we had was a gravel car park.
You know what it's like around this area when you've got no paths?
Pouring rain. It was the worst day you could have imagined.
The service, everyone was several inches higher when they walked in because you walked through the mud to get there.
It wasn't quite finished, like none of the plaster was done, wasn't it, at the top or anything.
It was just a shell, but everything worked. We had good toilets, we had a good kitchen, and a nice space. It was quite different to what it is now.
But it was just so exciting. And it was just lovely to worship together in our own building. And once you've got a building, people could see the church.
It just provided so many more opportunities for ministries that we might be able to have.
Being a multi-purpose building, we've had large functions here, had men's events, ladies' events,
Which was
LFC.
the youth, LFC.
There was another youth night. International food nights were probably all the biggest draw cards.
And then there was Christmas events. We had our Christmas events all the time, and they were great.
We had a church service on the stage at Water Gardens.
And there was the gift wrapping at Water Gardens.
People could leave a donation, and so we were able to raise some money.
And quite a few people ask, where are you and what sort of church are you and those sort of things. Yes, and we're allowed to have a carol service at Water Gardens.
Lindsay got a truck. We parked it in the car park at Water Garden Shopping Centre.
A lot of people sort of came along and listened to the music and listened to what was said.
Presented quite a joyous presentation of the carols.
We had all the band, and we had a choir.
They were good times presenting the gospel in carols to the people.
It was really good being out in the community and being able to just talk about things.
Which I thought was a very good outreach.
One of the highlights for me has been baptisms and hearing people's testimonies.
They are just fantastic. They're encouraging to others to see what God has done in their lives.
We've seen many pastors come and go at this church, and each pastor has their own unique gifting. Greg was very evangelical, so he brought that to the table. Paul particularly was very missional focused, and so we had a lot of mission when he was senior pastor, and that was a really good way of feeling that we were being a church, being that church. That's what we're called to do.
Each pastor has their own strengths and own unique abilities. Yeah.
Yes, of course the place has changed in lots of ways. Music changes, times changes, but it's lovely to see our church changing with the times.
If everything was still like it was 40 years ago, it's not going to work.
And we need to be relevant to our society now and the people that are around now.
So that's what I love about our church, one of the things. All our young people haven't gone. And that is so great to see them all having their little babies and still being there. It's fantastic, it really is.
So we're excited by the change that's been occurring and for the future.
Painting the walls black is a change. It's okay.
God's just working in such a wonderful way in our church right this very moment in 2025.
It's been great to be part of this church and this ministry.
It really has been great being able to work in this church, not only physically being able to build it, but also to be involved in the spiritual building of the church here at Sydney.
In a way, as I say, I shouldn't feel proud, but I do feel a bit proud that I was part of the original ones.
It's been a blessing to be part of this and see it grow and see it develop and to see the community embracing this church.
It's been great to be part of the building up of the church, as I say, both physically and spiritually.
You know, it's a privilege to me that church is still home. You know, it's sort of, yeah, it still feels great to be there.